everyone. So my husband and I are going to start a little experiment this week. He's going to be working on something and I'm going to be working on something. He doesn't really know I'm working on this, but I know what he's working on because I asked him to. I asked him for more help with the kids and more engagement with the kids and more help around the house. So my hope with that is we'll get into a better routine of him like helping, getting involved, and feeling like the kids do like him and that he can help the kids and kind of building his confidence so that I can have more help in the long run because, oh my gosh. Okay, and what I'm going to work on is being less naggy, which is kind of the point of the other thing too. I don't want to nag. I don't want him to feel like criticized. Thought I would just check in this morning. Everything is going really awesome. My husband has played with the kids both days that he's come home. He sat with them and talked with them and played with them for a good period of time both days. Last night they had a Nerf war. My son loved it. And I asked him to get pajamas on the baby, and he did. And so as far as I'm concerned, he's totally holding up his end of the deal. And I haven't even had to think about not criticizing or saying mean stuff or nagging him because he's been doing plenty. So, okay, well, I wanted to check in again. Definitely 10 out of 10 recommend this experiment or just any experiment to become more conscious in your marriage and to try to work on something in your marriage. Definitely recommend it. It definitely has changed kind of my perspective. I think it's given me a lot more gratitude. Basically, he hasn't done as well every day as he did right at first, but I've just seen a lot more effort in general from him, and especially with bonding with the kids and just doing things to make me happy. I see that he's aware of that now.
Can I go, Mom?
Sure, that's yours. I see that he's aware of that now, and that just him trying is all I want. But let me tell you, his relationship with our youngest son is so great, and I'm sure that's a combination of factors, but I think a big part of it is just him putting in the effort and putting in the time area, and I see the more he does spend time with the kids, the more his confidence grows. And as for my end of the deal, I haven't felt the need to nag a lot, like I said, and I think a big part of not criticizing and not complaining as much is being grateful. So for me, to remind myself how grateful I am, I do say it out loud to myself, or you can just write it down in a journal, gratitude journal. And then also just being more conscious during this experiment has helped me become more grateful because I'm looking for these things that he's doing to try to put forth effort for me and for the kids. He's been definitely more affectionate and sweet, and because I'm looking for those things that are positive about my spouse, I'm finding them. So I think when you look for those things that are negative, you find them, and when you look for those things that are positive, you find those too. And that has just helped my perspective, and he feels that from me. I can tell he's a lot more open. He wants to talk to me more. I feel a lot closer to him than I have in some times of our marriage. And I think definitely a part of that is just him knowing and sensing that I'm on his team, I'm on his side. I'm not looking for an opportunity to complain and criticize, but we definitely have still gotten into arguments. We've definitely still had disagreements, but they've gotten resolved a lot faster because I feel like we have more trust in our marriage. He trusts me that I'm not going to criticize and complain, and so we're able to work through things faster. So now I want to make recommendations for what I think you should do based on how this experiment kind of went for me and what I ended up doing that ended up working. I would definitely describe this experiment as marriage changing. So I would first recommend having a conversation with your spouse, making sure first you're both in the right headspace for it. You don't want to go into it saying, hey, you did this wrong in our marriage. You need to fix it. You need to go in saying, for example, I came in and I said, this isn't exactly how I saw my home life going. I would really like it if you were more engaged with the kids. I would like it if you helped me more around the house. But I don't want you to be stressed out because I know you have so much on your plate already. So what could that maybe look like in our marriage? What would work for you? And he had some ideas, kind of made a plan based on both of our ideas that would work. And I didn't even tell him what my commitment was, but you certainly can tell your spouse, I'm going to work on this, or ask him, what would you like me to work on? And be open and prepared for the truth and to fix it. And then once you've kind of figured that out, if you are a nagger like I am, if you have very high expectations like I do, the first thing I recommend for you is practicing gratitude every day, whether you say it out loud to yourself or you write it down. If you do that every day, I promise that will change your perspective on your spouse, change the way you interact with your spouse. The next thing is when you do want to criticize or you do have an argument, I do recommend giving it time. Even if you just go somewhere for 20 minutes and let your spouse know, hey, I'll be right back. if you're in the middle of an argument. If you just want to criticize, just take yourself aside, take a little adult time out for a minute. I would recommend at least 20 minutes. Sometimes I like to sleep on things because the next morning I always feel better. It always seems like less of a big deal. And then you can think of some ways to communicate what you're feeling. If it's still a problem for you, communicate what you're feeling without trying to make them feel bad about who they are or pointing out a character flaw. Instead of doing that, use I statements. I feel threatened when this happens, or just stick to very honest complaints instead of criticizing, you must be a bad person, and then ask, for their input and their ideas and what they think and how you think you could both come to a place where you're happy, because maybe you think it's a problem and he doesn't. Well, just talk about a place where you can both come to where you can both be happy. So creating a safe place for your spouse is the goal on both ends, and that's going to open up your marriage a lot, and you're both going to communicate better. You're going to have this trust, this unspoken trust, because you show each other, I appreciate you, by not pointing out their flaws all the time, working through problems in a constructive way instead of just making them feel bad. And check out wivestrive.com if you have not. The goal of all of our stories is to show women that they're not alone, that this is normal, and give them tools and ideas that you might not have thought of before to help you work through all these common marriage problems. Thanks for watching.